I forgot the intro. What do I say?
Hello, everybody. Welcome to One Thing at a Time. How you doing, Olivia?
Oh my god, I completely forgot how I started. I'm leaving that in because that's too funny. I'm doing good, obviously. I'm having a little bit of a brain fart moment, but that's totally fine. How are you?
I'm good. I literally saw the entire the fear and the blankness in your face when you just stared at me and stared at the computer. That was funny.
Top 10 scariest moments.
Yeah. That and when you run out of poses at a session and you're just like, can I have you walk again?
Yeah, that's
Literally.
calling me out. High key.
No, that's me. At wedding sometimes I'm like, let me take over. I can't think. So, everybody, me and Olivia want to start something new and fun. We want to ask each other entrepreneur slash fun questions having to do with business, like as an icebreaker. So, each week we're going to ask each other a fun question because I was one of those people that loved playing 20 questions. But I didn't like the "Will you be my girlfriend?" 20 questions, the actual what's your favorite color? What's your favorite animal? That junk. The BuzzFeed questions on Facebook. Mwah, love it. So
You want to go first?
I'm gonna go first. Okay.
Okay.
What is your favorite aspect of being an entrepreneur?
Making my own schedule and not having to work with others. Thank you. Good night.
I knew you were gonna say making my own schedule or not dealing with people because that's my favorite. It's
I mean, I still have to deal with people in the aspect of my clients, but
that's
that
different.
is doable.
They're not. You're working you're working by them. You're working not for them, but it's different than working with people that you're using the same you're doing the same thing and you're trying to accomplish the same thing, if that makes sense. If you have a coworker, it's not like you have coworkers suck unless you're Olivia.
Oh my gosh, I'm the best coworker. Actually, honestly, probably people would say I'm not, but it's fine. I don't know. I just don't I'm there to do a job. I'm not there to make friends. And so I've never been the type of person to be friends with my coworkers.
At one of my jobs I was, and that's it. Yeah. Oh, what was your question to me?
I haven't asked it.
Oh, okay. Enough talking about yourself, Olivia.
Sorry. It's an all about me show today. Okay, Hailey. In 10 years, will you be proud of what you're doing now?
Ooh, that's a good one. Yes, I think so. I would say so. Yeah, 100%. But I think I want to be able to get to a point where I'm prouder every year of myself from where I've come.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, if you start being disappointed in yourself, maybe you need to reflect a little. But
yeah.
So Hailey and I plan on being controversial this episode. So if you don't like if you don't like us being controversial, maybe click off. If you want your feelings hurt, stay. So, I mean, it's up to you.
Okay, so this is a touchy subject. It's community over competition. And I think that there's a lot of controversy behind it because there's old ways of thinking and new ways of thinking for business.
Well, I think the whole reason why it's so controversial is because you have the newer photographers coming in that have a different mindset of thinking than the older people. And when I say older people, I mean older photographers that literally worked with film,
30 and up.
Yes. So it's just a little bit different. Because the newer photographers like me, like us, 21st century photographers, okay, that are 20, whatever. Millennials. We're not millennials.
We're Gen Z.
Whatever. Millennials, Gen Z, those type of photographers.
No. Millennials is my mom, your mom. Millennials.
My mother isn't, your mother is not a millennial.
What? No. What? Look up the year. Hold up.
Millennials are, I'm pretty sure, like,
Millennial. Play millennial. I
well,
thought they
anyways,
were like
while
30
she's
year olds.
30-year-olds, yes, but your mother is not 30.
1981 to 1996.
Yep.
Dang. So what? Ew, what is my mom?
She's the generation before
Oh.
it.
Oh, okay. So in between baby boomer or Gen X.
Yes.
Gen X, okay.
Yes, that's our parents.
So Gen X and millennials are the ones that have this old thinking, but 1996 and above. So
Gen
1996
Z,
is Gen Z.
which I'm pretty sure that we are Gen Z, but they haven't named the upcoming generations, if that makes any sense. Like from 1996, from 2000, and I think 7 or 8 or 10 is the cutoff for Gen Z. And
Mhm.
they haven't named the other generations yet because
I
they're not
think that
old
they
enough.
I think they want to be named like Rainbow or something like that. I'm dead serious. I read an article about it. I was like, okay.
Anyways, they just have a different mindset of thinking because they had to deal with film when we necessarily didn't have to deal with all of that stuff. So you'll see people on like, Hailey, hi,
I'm
I swear.
I'm putting on Do Not Disturb, don't worry.
Um,
Well, it's not even just like it's not even just that they worked with film. It's that they worked with a scarcity mindset that it's like if I don't get this client, then like I won't be able to feed my kids. And like they think that there's nobody that's going to work with them and that they're the only photographer so they have to get the client. So like it's like instead of having an abundant mindset that it's like what we have now, they're in very much like scarcity. Like I have to get what I can when I can get it. It doesn't matter how.
and that's very generational
Mm-hmm.
too because of all the things that happened in their generation, which is totally fine. Um, but oh my god.
Sorry. Well, honestly, so my grandfather was born in the Great Depression. So, like, he had a scarcity mindset because he was eating broth. Like, he tells me about the stories he had when he was a kid and how he had to eat, like, spam sandwiches. And so he raised my parents in that same mindset, even if it wasn't necessarily the exact same. He grew up like 0 to 18, the most important years, with a scarcity mindset that's going to influence how he parents.
Yes. And I feel like the baby boomer generation was so hard on their kids. And that's why our generations are a bunch of softies because our parents wanted their kids to have better. That's what I think, anyways.
I think that it's slowly getting better because like baby boomers were teaching the what's it called? Gen X or whatever, our parents, and I think it was like a different transition between the wars and like a bunch of different stuff that it's eventually gotten softer because we still had like the Vietnam War when it came to like Gen X, I think it is, or yeah, Gen X. But I don't know, it's I feel like we're getting better, but we're almost getting worse because we're so like sensitive now. No one can like take a joke. Nobody can have true freedom of speech. Nobody can.
Well, I just think we're getting dumber because look at what I'm holding. This iPhone, sorry, we're going on a tangent, but this iPhone literally does everything for me.
Oh yeah.
Like,
100%.
it'll tell me my next poop if I wanted to.
You know,
So
it really will. It really will.
so it's just like we're a little bit more reliant on technology than they were. But it's all like every industry is like this. So it's not just photography, you know?
Mhm. Yeah.
So it's sorry, we got on our soapbox about our generation. But if you ask me, I don't like our generation and I wish that we weren't classified in it
We need to
because
have an in between, like from the transition out of millennial into Gen Z. Like there's a strange like 4 or 5 year transition that was like we still grew up when there was no iPhones. There was like still like the iPhone I think it was made, but it was not mass produced like by any means. Like I remember my mom getting the first iPhone and like the picture quality was like so amazing compared to like the pixelated flip phones. Like we
Yeah.
were in that era.
The
We grew up playing
Blackberries.
outside. Yeah, the Blackberries, Androids. Like I remember specifically being like, yeah, I want an Android like flip phone. That's what
Well,
I'm getting.
we still had cassettes
Yeah,
too in school.
100.
So
Yeah,
it's not like, I mean,
VHS,
it's
all of
just
it.
different. I think I got my first iPod in 5th grade
Yeah,
because
iPods were a thing.
in 5th grade, what year was that? Oh, gosh. 2010? 2009? I don't even know. But like it was coming up and everybody wanted an iPhone. Everybody.
Mhm.
It was just a cultural reset.
Yeah, faux show. Faux show. Um, so I do think okay, so the whole, gist of the episode is community over competition. Obviously, we've been talking about side tangents of that, but that's okay. Um, One thing that I would say is you're gonna get a lot further when you have friends and you have help. Like that's the point of having community over competition because when you're putting like you want to have a community where if you need to know like how to do something you can go and you can find it. Like through free education, through paid education, like you'll want to have people that you're like, "Hey, like how does this look?" Like good constructive criticism, you'll be able to make friends. That's literally how me and Olivia became to be friends because we put community over competition. Like we didn't view each other as competition. We viewed each other as two photographers that were friends. And like still, like when Olivia gets a wedding, I'm just as excited as when I get a wedding. I'm not like, "Oh my gosh, Olivia's stealing my clients." Like I don't think like that at all. And I think that a lot of photographers think as though they're holier than thou, they're the best of the best, and that like there's not enough couples. I mean, there's too many couples for there to be one photographer ever. You know what I mean? There needs to be a lot of photographers because there's for every one photographer, there's two couples. Okay, so it wasn't okay. Facebook groups have been along for a while, but it wasn't until like 2017 that they were used to like for like marketing and business and like that type. They were more for like the weirdos that did like LARPing and like group chats and stuff. But no offense, I'm just saying. So it was still a new concept even like 3 4 years ago when we were starting out and we wanted to know more. It was still a lot of the older people because older people use Facebook. They were getting on there and they were trying to, I don't know, find clients, and in the process came across a group that ended up they were mean in it. I don't understand how someone can think that they're the only good photographer and they alone can serve 400 million couples.
I think I know what group you're talking about, and I have since left. Um,
Which one? There's so many.
oh, well, I left Cassidy Lynn. I'm just gonna say it. I'm gonna keep this in, but I left Cassidy Lynn's group, um, probably a year ago now, because a bunch of people. I mean, obviously she got bigger, and so a bunch of people started getting accepted in, and then there would be those people that were like, well, you should do it this way because I've done it this way for 20 plus years and it's always worked for me. Okay. But that's not going to work for me, you know?
People are just so mean, and they instead of coming from a place of like constructive criticism, it's just straight up mean criticism because they don't want to see you succeed. They just want their own success.
Well, and the biggest thing that I see older photographers talking about is because they have this scarcity mindset is why do you guys overshoot so much? It's
Yes.
just as simple to take 100 pictures and then not have to edit. Girlie, what do you mean? It's so easy to overshoot because we have technology that can help us fix it.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's just like they don't understand.
They
And
just made a new, like a brand new, I don't even think I've talked to you about this, a brand new camera. It's some different type of, it's a very expensive camera, but it syncs with Lightroom.
hey, that's pretty
So
cool.
so as you're shooting, it's putting your edits on them.
That's
Like
pretty cool.
like, it's legit. And they have now apps that you can download onto the newer, like, that's how far technology's been. So if it's more convenient for me, and if it works for me to deliver a 2,100 picture gallery,
Yikes, Missy.
then I'm gonna do that versus giving someone, like, 100 pictures and making them pay for them. You know what I mean? There's so many different ways that they've done things in the past. Photographers still nowadays, like a lot of boudoir people do this, a lot of newborn photographers do this. They pay for the shoot and then
Proofs.
hmm?
Proofs? Is that what you're talking about?
Is that what they call them? That
Yeah.
they pay, like, let's say $1,000 for a newborn session,
Yep.
and then they only get to choose 30.
Yes, that's proofs.
Yeah. I
And
don't
I think that's wrong. I
Oh, 100%. Like, we are here not to just bash, but we're bashing because I hate that.
proofs are only for schools. Like,
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
think that it's wrong to make people pay extra for pictures that when you could just include it in your price. Um, it's just wrong. Like,
If
it's it's price gouging is what it
I
is.
think that if you want to be a budget bride photographer, like, let's say there's someone out there that's like, "I wanna work for, like, the budget brides, like, I wanna work for someone that's any budget." I think that you can do that because for someone that's a budget bride, they're like, okay, well, I'm not going to use 2,000 photos and I don't want to pay $5,000 to get those 2,000 photos. I'd rather just pay $100 for 30 and I get to pick which ones I get, which ones I don't get. But at the end of the day, I'm only going to use 30 and I'm only going to look back on this many. I think that's the only way that that would be beneficial.
But I think it's different if you aren't transparent
Oh, well,
with
eh,
people.
you're not being transparent. A lot of the time, like, I get questions now that's like people ask me, "Hey, do you do like do I have to pay anything else for the photos?" I'm like, "No, like you don't
Oh,
have to
I
pay
get
for
those all
high
the
res
time.
you do not have to pay for high resolution photos."
Yeah, I get those questions all the time, and I'm like, "Nope. What you see listed on my pricing guide is what you get. I'm not gonna cut corners with you, and if it's something that like fees, I'm gonna tell you there.
Mhm.
Like, no,
I make
absolutely
my
not."
packages completely all inclusive, so I don't hit that, "Oh, by the way, it's also 7%. Oh, by the way, it's also gonna be an extra $10 for every mile." Or it's gonna be, "Oh, it's this. Oh, it's that." And next thing you know, two your $125 session you thought you were getting a deal on is now like $450.
Mhm.
So that makes me irritated. But I mean, it's social media in general. Okay, like it can either be a really, really good place or a really, really bad place. Like there's no in between. It's either you find people like Olivia and me that we met and it's amazing and we've always lifted each other up, or it's like the flip side where people are just tearing other people down. I don't know what's going on with me.
She is just a yawning girly.
I guess. I don't know. My eyes are watering now, but
I just social media is what you make it, and I think it really depends on your mindset because this is how, not to get on my little side tangents, but this is how people get um and I can say this, so don't come for me, but this is how people get body dysmorphia. Because if you follow people like Kylie Jenner or people just Instagram models with beautiful bodies and that's all you see, and then you start comparing yourself, then that's toxic. You need to follow people that support you, and if it makes you feel bad about yourself, unfollow them? Question mark? Like, that's a
yeah.
simple task.
I I think we talked this is kind of going into imposter syndrome a little bit, but like we've talked about this on previous episodes that you are what you, like, look at almost. So if you're looking at constantly, like, Kylie Jenner and all the Kardashians, and you put yourself in a mindset of, like, "Oh, like, I wanna be like this. I wanna," like, you're gonna start wanting to be that, and you're going to, like, question your self-worth. And, like, that's the same with, like, photographers. Like, you see, "Oh, I wanna be like India Earl and, like, Indie Blue," and,
Did you see that she got married?
are you kidding me? Of course I know that she's got married. Oh my god, yes, 100%.
Her wedding is stunning.
Yeah, I know.
Stunning.
She used to be a wedding videographer, so, like,
Mhm.
she knows.
Oh,
She
she
knows.
knows. Anyways, sorry.
No, you're good. I was just gonna say that the industry, the photography, like, social media, follow people that you're inspired by, you're not envious by. If you're envious and you start, like, feeling resentment, unfollow, because that doesn't do good for anybody. Like, at all. Like, do not be jealous. I mean, get yourself to a point where you're confident enough to deal with the negativity, even if it's just within yourself. Just unfollow, follow people that you're inspired by, and find different avenues to be inspired by, not just Instagram and Facebook. So yeah.
Yeah, and in the real world, followers don't matter. And if if you lose a follower, who cares?
I lose all the followers all the time, and, like, at the end of the day, you don't want people following you that don't wanna see your work. Like, you're only posting to get clients and to get business, and at the end of the day, if I have 200 followers, but I'm making $300,000 in clients every year, then that's what I'm gonna want. I'd rather take that over 20,000 followers and I get 1 booking every year.
Right. And Instagram is just kind of like a false reality. Like people who have that many followers, you don't know how much they're booking. They could be lying, you
Yeah,
know? It's
100%.
just don't compare yourself to people um on it on any social media because I
Yeah.
think it's all fake.
That's why I hate, like, this whole meta deal and whatnot. Like, it's not gonna end well because
Ooh,
people are just
can we talk about bragging?
oh! Yes.
So I'm not one to be like, okay, quit bragging or whatever. But when you constantly do it, it's bragging. Like if you're happy about booking somewhere at a beautiful venue, by all means, be so happy and be like, I can't wait to shoot here. But it gets to a point where it's bragging and it's obvious bragging and it's all that's going to do is deter people from you. Um and this kind of goes into imposter syndrome, but people will see that and it's not like you should care about what other people think. But you need to be mindful, like being like, oh my gosh, we just booked our 100th million wedding today. Yay! So happy. It's to a point where it's just like, okay, we get it. Like you're making,
100%.
you know what I mean? Like you don't have to
So,
tell the whole world that you're booking so many weddings.
it's like it's different when it's, like, once a year, you're like, "This job is taking me to 30 different countries, 5 different states, and I've met 200 couples that I love so dearly. Like, thank you for letting me do what I do. Let me keep doing it." That's different. But there comes a point where it's like you're insecure and you're overcompensating for something, and it's, like, quite obvious, and it just makes other people not want to follow you or be
I
friends with you.
I feel like it's just a ploy to show people how successful you are. And
Successful in quotations.
quotes because it's just a successful person is not also a bragging person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I
Like,
don't see Elon Musk, like, going on interviews and being like, "Yeah, I'm the richest person ever because I'm so smart and I'm just successful and, like, this, and
no,
this."
you have to be humble in some way, but like, it's
We're
just
not trying to tell you how to run your business, but if you want
no.
people to follow you and like you, then, like, bro, come on.
That's all I gotta say.
Just
That was just like a hot topic on my brain because I see a bunch of people in general do it, and it grinds me over like to shreds. And it's just because I can understand how it feels looking in on a different perspective of someone starting out and being like, oh, why am I not booking?
Yeah.
Why am I not doing this? Why am I not doing that? And that feeds into imposter syndrome and also community. Like, it's just, we're a whole big community. Just don't. Just don't, you know?
Yeah, I agree. I did want to bring another point. Um, okay, so when it comes to community over competition, like a lot of you need to set boundaries, of course. Like there gets to a point when you're in your business that you can't answer every DM and give people the undivided attention that you want to. It's just not possible. Like
I'm going to start a yawn counter. How many was that? 5?
I don't know a lot, but I say that because I've gotten DMs in the past of people being like, "How did you do what you do?" And I'm like I offer mentor sessions, like we can sit down and talk about it, but like for someone picking your brain is like that's inevitably your time, money, all of the hard work that you've put in, and you need to charge for that. So of course, granted, if you have like 200 photographers, you're just now starting, and like someone reaches out and is like, "Hey, how'd you do this? How do you do this?" Like create a relationship. But if I'm gonna reach out to someone like Cassidy Lynn and be like, "How did you start?" Like I don't expect them to answer because that's their time. Like you need to pay them. It's not at that point. It's disrespectful to expect someone to just drop everything and kind of cater to your needs when you're not willing to pay, if that makes sense. And it brings me to like don't expect discounts from those people. Don't expect discounts in general because like why? Like why would you need a discount? Like if you can't afford, like photography is a luxury. We've said this in the past, but it's truly a luxury, and if you can't afford it, even if you're a photographer, especially if you're a photographer, you should know better. So
Mhm.
that's how I feel.
Like, if I went to I'm just gonna use you as an example because I mean we've had this conversation before, but I refuse. But if I went to you and I was like, "Hey, I want some pictures," I would expect to pay full price. You wouldn't let me, but I would still expect
Absolutely.
it.
Like me and Olivia, we'll do sessions like our branding session. We split everything like half and half, but I ended up wanting a session. So I was like, "Hey, Olivia, can I just pay for this and you give me my session?" And she's like, "Yeah, sure." So that's what we did. Even though Olivia is my best friend and I don't like I'm gonna pay her because that's her time, that's her energy, that's her brain, that's her excellence, and I love her so much and she deserves the money. Like, don't just I'm not gonna say, "Hey, can you do, like, this wedding for me this weekend, like, for free?" Like, no. What? No. And that also ties into second shooting. And, like, we
Oh,
can get on our soapboxes about that, but second shooting prices are based off of your experience level, like, you second shooting, like, the person second shooting. So even if I'm making a 10K wedding, like, if you are a new photographer, like when I say a new photographer, I mean like a year or under, like never really have done a wedding more than like 10 weddings or below 10 weddings yourself, like you don't need to expect like getting $300-400 for a 6 to 8 hour wedding. Granted, like if it's, I don't know, maybe in like a different country and you're needed for 8 hours, 10 hours, then of course you'll be compensated for that. But especially when you're first starting out, you need to take what you can get, especially because it's like it's rough in these streets. Like you need to learn how to, like, survival of the fittest, my man. And I know Olivia has a lot to add to this, but
well, I just have a whole soapbox that people probably don't want me to say.
get on it, girl.
But and also people I know, especially me, I have a hard time finding second shooters that I like, and that's probably just because I only work with Haley. And when I do find second shooters that I like to stick with those people. But sometimes it's just like sometimes we need to find other second shooters, and I've come across people that are like very nasty about
Entitled. They're entitled.
entitled about what they think that they should be making. But I don't want to keep going on, but because I'll get mean, so I won't. But I just want to say if you come across a situation where you can't accept the pay because it just won't work, be nice. Like, be nice about it. Be like, actually, I don't think I'll be able to, blah, 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 whatever. Don't be like, no, like, this pay is not going to work for me, blah, blah, blah. And I don't care. I don't care. Just tell me no and let's move
And
on.
there's a difference between, like, a client being like, "Hey, la 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 la," and you being like, "No, like, I'm worth more than that." But when you're, like, a contracted second shooter, you're representing someone else's brand, like, it's you literally have to show up, click a button, be there, be present, and then you go home, and that's it. Like, don't expect the industry standards 10 to $30 an hour depending on your experience level, and, like, I remember, like, I don't even think I you did you pay me the first wedding I helped you do or no?
Yes, but it wasn't like you said, "I'll take whatever, and then I'll just help you." It wasn't like a whole, like,
Yeah,
bunch
like,
of money.
I didn't expect any money because I was, like, helping Olivia, Olivia was helping me, it was mutual beneficial, but if she didn't pay me a dime, like, I would've been fine with it. If Olivia truly, like, came to me and said, "Hey, I need your help with this wedding, I cannot pay you, but I'll make it up to you," or something like that, I would 100% hands down help her in any way I possibly can.
And I've totally done that too, where I've offered to help people knowing that I wasn't gonna get paid.
Yeah, I
Like
think you've done a wedding for me that's unpaid. I was like, "Girl, I can't pay you this time, but I'll pay you next time."
but it's mainly for, my experience. I'm going to help you, but I'm also there for the experience of getting better. So
Yeah,
it was beneficial for
yeah.
me also.
Even
And
like,
then
there are photographers that will pay other photographers to go to their weddings with them because that's how valuable, like, second shooting is. So it's almost a privilege to be asked. I mean, granted, if it's like a ghetto, trashy backyard bash, it's probably not the best, but there are certain venues that are dream venues that you have to wear like black tie, very nice. You need a coat to go, like, you need to look the part, and I think that it's almost a privilege to be asked to go sometimes, so it's kind of frustrating when people don't understand that because I don't get how someone granted, if someone that was like, let's say, I don't know, we've said who's a who's a photographer? A famous photographer.
Don Charles.
Don Charles. Okay, let's say Don Charles texted me and was like, "Hey, I need to do this wedding. I need you to help me do this wedding in Colorado."
Girl, I would do it unpaid. I'd say,
I
"What? When am
okay,
I
great.
going on flight?"
I know, me too. I would do that paid, but and she was like, "Hey, but the only thing I can pay you is $100. Like that's all I have." If obviously in my situation, I'd say I can just be there. Like you don't even have to pay me. But I would say, I'm unfortunately, like, I feel like I'm worth more. Like, if you feel like you're truly getting cheated, then that's one thing. Like, "Hey, you know what? This is my typical rate, so I'm unable to, like, attend," or so there's nice ways to go about it. But there's a difference between, like, truly getting paid, like, $30 when it clearly is like a $3,000 wedding. Like, you're charging the client's charging or paying that much for you, if that makes sense. But I don't know, there's do's, there's don'ts, like, you kinda just There's too many entitled people.
And you also have to take into consideration, like, if you do get asked to be a second shooter, you also have to take into consideration that maybe the people want to pay you more, they just can't. Because if I am making, if this is hypothetical, but if I'm making $800 off of a wedding, I'm
Which at
not
one
going
point we were. We
to,
were.
right, exactly. I'm not going to pay you $300 because guess what my takeaway would be? Five.
And,
Like,
and the second shooter literally showed up with the camera. Like, I would even give my second shooter a camera if they didn't have one. So they literally brought their camera and took pictures. So, like, anyways, you go on.
that's all I was going to say.
I'm just
I
irritated.
wouldn't be taking home anything because on my end, you also have to think about gas. Well, there goes $50. Okay, what? I'm down 450.
450.
There goes I have to pay for Lightroom and I have to pay for all the other stuff. Honeybug.
Engagement session.
Engagement session. There goes $200. 8 185, I don't know. Whatever I was making at that point.
Mhm.
What am I down to now? 300? 200? Oh, great.
And that's
Okay.
not your editing time. That's not the main shooter's experience that should be getting paid more. This is a whole industry issue that I think that, I mean, granted, you can run your business how you want. So if you want to accept money, you don't want to accept money. If you truly, people just think that they're the best, and like they're not. There's always someone better. There's always someone better. And that's not to discourage people. That's just the truth. So you
I
kind of have to gauge yourself.
I think my one point that I want to make is because I've encountered a couple of people like this. Just be nice.
Yeah.
If you get an offer and it just doesn't work for you, be nice. And if you can't think of something nice to say, I would rather you not say anything at all. Honestly.
Okay, yeah,
Like,
I agree. 100%. And okay, hypothetically, let's say you are a newer photographer. And let's say you've been in business for like less than 2 years. And you get offered an 8-hour gig for $100 and you're like, it might take me $50 there and back, and then I'll have to, take all of the photos there, and I'll probably end up getting like $8 an hour. And then you come home, whatever. At the end of the day, you're still making, let's say, like $50 after the gas you take away, and you get a full gallery, and you get experience. So, like, did you really lose that money? It's kind of it's all about mindset, and it's all about your priorities. So if like your ego is your number one priority, or if your whatever is your number one priority, then you might miss out on opportunities because you're so caught up in like yourself. And that's on period.
maybe we just have like a really different way of thinking because I know that there's a ton of people out there that will never shoot for free. And that is just another thing in the
Yes.
industry that is wrong. Um,
If you tell
because
me that you're going to Howl Farms, I'll be like, "Can I pay you to go there, please?" Like, there's certain venues that I'm like, I will shoot every single wedding there ever for free, solely
going to
based
Hal
on my portfolio.
Farms,
Period, period,
we going in January to Hal Farms.
period, ad, period, ad, period, ad, period, ad. And we're going back to White Fox, yes, because it's
Yeah,
beautiful.
if Hal Farms here
So
listens,
it's beautiful there. It's beautiful there.
gosh, please,
Aesthetically beautiful.
yes. We every time we get a wedding there, it's just like, ah, can't wait because it just takes me back. I feel like it's kind of just bittersweet
Mhm.
because that's where we kind of like. That's not where we met, but like that's where we shot our first wedding together
Mhm. That's where it all started.
at the Apple Barn
And the chapel.
and the chapel.
And the chapel. I do want I do have a final point, and it's kind of like we can get on a soapbox about this too, but it's location sharing within this industry. It all comes down to tone. So there are gonna be okay. I'm gonna back up. So I was in Utah, and I was in Alpine Basin, which is more like it's about I think an hour or so north of um Salt Lake City, and we went to go take pictures, and like we went off of this path. There was so many beautiful wildflowers, and the park ranger came up to us and was like, "Hey, like listen, this is a state park. Like you're not able to go on these like beaten paths. Like it destroys its beauty." And I say this because you don't think about it. Like, yes, the shots are so important, but there are certain places that you just don't go. Like, the shot's not worth it. Like, granted, like, they're probably going to mow this stupid wildflower field and it's not that big of a deal. But there are certain spots that get so ran through because every photographer is like, oh, just this one shot. It's okay. Like, these little patch of flowers over here, it's totally fine. But like make sure you're staying on the path, but also there are certain photographers that care about the environment more than other people, so they keep their locations like close to the chest, and they don't location share. I don't know, I don't find it disrespectful or respectful to ask for a location. I think that like location scouting is a whole different conversation, a whole different episode, because there's like these photographers spend hours and hours and hours researching these specific locations for certain clients, and it's ultimately their right if they want to decide to share it or not. um I had like 40,000 points in saying what I'm saying, but at the end of it, you have to be mindful that people might not share the locations with you, and there's no need to get butthurt about it, but always leave things better than you found them, and always be mindful wherever you are going. Even if it's a super popular place and they don't care, you just be mindful.
Yeah, I would say that there are certain at first when I was first starting out, I didn't quite understand why people would not share locations, but now I do because I've seen places get overcrowded and ran through and just aren't cute anymore.
No, not at all.
And um so yeah, but now I understand. So if people don't share, just kind of just be like, okay, and then go find something better because
Google road trippers, Google the Google search. Like if you just take the picture into Google and search it, there's so many ways that you can find. But honestly, if you just drive around, you'll find stuff. Like look out your window when you're driving. I found so many locations based off of that. But I was gonna tell you. There's this place and it's called Cochrane Mill, and it's in Noonan, Georgia, or not necessarily, it's in the Chattahoochee Hills. And um it used to be like this beautiful place. It used to be a great place. But over the years, I would bring my clients there, especially family sessions, because it's a great family place. But I take a family there, and then they're like, "Oh, this is a great place to bring the kids." So then they come back a few times every year, and they like love it. So they go hiking with their family, and their family is like, "Oh, I love this place." And then they bring other people. They go picnics. Next thing you know, this place that I took one family is now like there's 300 people that have come, and it's like trashed. Like there's so much like litter, there's too many people to take photos, there's so much foot traffic, and it's just not fun. So,
that's just kind of how I feel about Green Meadows.
ugh,
Um
especially right now.
well, because it's so pretty. Like in the fall, it gets to be so pretty because there's so many trees, but it's right off the highway. And it's just people like when I've taken people there before, they're like, I would have not even known that this is here. And I
Yeah.
was like, yeah, like you would literally like pass it in the blink of an eye. But now so many people know about it because so many people go there. And it is a preserve, so like it gets well taken care of, but there's just too many people, and it's not enjoyable. It's not enjoyable for me, and it's not enjoyable for them. So
I
I
will say
just
one thing that I do like about Green Meadow Preserve is that they have like little like they have paths, okay, throughout the whole place. And even within the path, there's like little divots that are like walked through like paths that like other people have done. So you just go there and then you can take photos there rather than you just going and destroying some of the stuff. Granted, it all gets ran through anyway. Like this is a perfect location if you want to go in the run in the middle of the field because it all gets plowed like multiple times a year. So you can go ham on like not destroying it, but like
is the grass tall right now?
yes.
Oh, perf.
Like I need to send you the senior gallery I just got done with because it's like it was taller than me.
I love when the grass is that tall. So that's the only time that I really actually love Green Meadows.
Yeah, it's really ridiculously tall.
Yeah, good. Okay, good. I have a session there on Friday.
It's really pretty right now, I will admit.
I figured it would be because of the leaves changing and stuff.
But go at like 5 o'clock. Do not go
My
any
session's at 4:30.
good.
So,
I was gonna
yeah.
say do not go any later.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially any place right now. Like there's another beautiful park in Alpharetta, and
Talking about the one that starts with a G.
mhm.
Oh yeah.
But like people know about it, but so many photographers know about it, and it gets so infiltrated. It's like bugs, they just swarm there.
Yes.
But I don't know, it's just so crazy. Like as soon as the weather hits 50 degrees, all of the photographers are out and about doing sessions here. It's just crazy.
100%, yeah.
And that's what we want to stay away from. So if we don't share a location with you, it's really not that deep.
But most of them, like, I will share, but there's, like, 3 that I won't. One, because it's private property, and I probably shouldn't be on there. 2, I don't want the beauty to get destroyed, and I did my engagement session there, so it's really special to me, and I just don't want people going there and messing it up. And then 3, yeah, that's pretty much
Three.
it. I'm
Three.
actually a nature girl, so, like, I don't want people just destroying the place, so
Yeah, that's how I feel. I probably have the same three.
yeah. Oh, you took your engagement pictures there?
What? What engagement pictures?
I'm kidding. Gee.
Girl. Anyway, off topic, but I got my Halloween costume today, and I called Haley, and I was like, I literally cannot wait to show you this, and she thought I was gonna show her an engagement ring. And I was like, no, another day, another disappointment. Sorry,
Yeah,
guys.
for real.
Anyways, is that all that we had to
Yeah,
say?
that's all we have
Okay.
to say about community over competition.
I mean, we didn't really say much, but at the same time, we said a lot. So
No,
there
we
you go.
said a lot. I feel like it's a topic that doesn't get talked about because, like, who's gonna make a post about it? You know what I mean?
Me. Ooh, I wanted to say real quick, TikTok, the community, especially like
Ooh.
wedding TikTok. Oh my
Ooh.
god, so bad. So bad. If you ever see anything on photography TikTok, do not listen to them. Please.
I mean, granted, if it's like cute shoes or like I like bride TikTok, but not photography, like wedding photography TikTok.
No, I saw a video the other day and I was like, there's no way.
Yes, I know what you're talking about because you sent it to me. This
I
girl
was
was basically like, "I charge $10,000 and this is how I do it." And she's like, "I ask the client what type of style they want, and then I cater 100% to them." And I was like, "Okay, go you, girl. Go you." I think
I was like, that ain't gonna work.
that's nearly impossible if you want a sustainable business. Like, you need a niche down and, like, hone in and be a pro at what you're doing.
But I feel like she was just 100% fibbing because I did end up stalking her Instagram and
it all looked the same.
It all looked the same.
Alrighty, guys. We're signing off. We love you.
And we miss you. Illy, bye. You can find the podcast on Instagram and TikTok, and you can listen on Spotify, Apple, and really anywhere that you can find podcasts. So that is all. That is a wrap. Thank you for listening.
And we'll hear you next time. Bye.
Bye.